Welcome everyone to the recap of the second lesson of the Dutch course. In this lesson, the most important parts that we are recapping are the number system in Dutch and how to conjugate the verbs to have and to be. We also treated the names of family members and how to talk about family members, but I will skip that for this recap because they are in your booklet and you can just take them over, take them from there. And the last thing we'll treat in this recap are the personal pronouns and other kinds of pronouns. So let's just get into it. First, the numbers. So the numbers in Dutch from 0 to 20 are, well, they just have names, and you need to know the names. So let's go through them real quick. I hope you know the numbers, names of the numbers in English. So I will just speak out the names of the ones in Dutch twice, so you can hear them twice. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 2. 3, 3. 4, 4. 5, 5. 6, 6. 7, 7. 8, 8. 9, 9, 10, 10. For the other ones, I will just go through them once, because I'm already bored. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Well, good job, now you know how to count from 0 to 20 in Dutch. You'll probably need to revise this a bit, but this is also, again, in the booklet, so please try it. Where Dutch deviates a bit from English in its counting is how it treats the numbers from 20 to 99. In English, you say 21, 22, 34, 97, whatever. You say the power of the multiple of 10 first, and then the single digit number. In Dutch, however, we somehow decided that we first say the single digit number and then the multiple of 10. So what this looks like is that we don't say 20 and 1 or 21, 21, we say 1 and 20. Before I go through this list, first let's go through all the names of the multiples of 10 in Dutch. These are kind of easy. They're usually almost all of them are just the name of the first of the number with tig at the end. So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And so you can see in the second column, we would pronounce it as not 21, but 21. Not 32, maar 32. Now, some of you might have see this diaresis and think, what is it? Well, these diaresis or umlauts in Dutch, they don't indicate a change of pronunciation like they do in German or Swedish or whatever. No, what they do is mark the beginning of a new syllable. For if these diareses were not there, you would just have 3 E's in a row. And that would be kind of confusing because you wouldn't really know how to pronounce that. And we like to have a sort of consistent pronunciation rules. So this diaresis is basically just a line cutting 2 from the N. And then we know, okay, this are 2 different words that are just smashed together because we like to do it in Dutch. Smashed together. So this would be pronounced 32. The same is for 43, 43, 54, 65, 76, 76, I'm sorry, 87, 98. And then from 100, we start counting normally again. We say 101, another 101. 101, 123, etc., etc. Other useful numbers that are in your booklet but not on the slide are 1000, which is 1,000. 1000 again. A million, which is miljoen. miljoen. A billion in Dutch is een miljard, not een biljoen. A trillion is a billion. This is because in Dutch, in English is also used to be this way. There used to be a word which was milliard, which is now called a billion, which makes a lot more sense because a billion would normally mean a by million, namely a million times a million, which would be 12 zeros. And in Dutch, that is how we count. So we say a biljoen is 2 times a million, or a million times a million, and 12 zeros. In English, this somehow reversed at some point. There's an interesting number file video if you're interested. Just look up. Well, I'm not sure why I'm giving a recommendation, but I'm way too far in now. Okay, number file, milliard. Well, you'll get it. It's very interesting, I think, but I like numbers because I'm a nerd. So, 1000, miljoen, miljard, biljoen, billiard, triljoen, trilliard, etc., etc. That's how we count big numbers. Otherwise, there's not much interesting to say about the numbers. Just one thing. Years in Dutch can also be pronounced like in English, where you say the first 2 digits and then the second 2 digits, like 1996, my birth year. In Dutch, you can say that, but only for the years between 1100 and 2000. So you could say my birth year, 1996, would be 1996. Equivalently, you could say 1996, 1996. Also perfectly valid. For years past 2000, you don't do this, though. You don't say 2020 in Dutch. You don't say 2020. You would say 2020, 2020. You also wouldn't say 2020 in English or in Dutch. Just useful to know. Other interesting, good to know, ordinal numbers, words like first, second, etc. in Dutch are pretty straightforward. You either add de or ste at the end. And for 2 words, the words kind of change. Namely, first becomes eerste, and third becomes derde, instead of eende and driede. But the other words are pretty consistent. So if the word ends on a multiple of 10, you add ste. For example, 30 becomes dertigste. 590 becomes 590ste. A miljoen becomes miljoenste. A millionth, or the millionth. You just add ste. For the others, you add de. For example, so tweede, vierde, vijfde, zesde. The only exception to this is acht. You don't say achtde, you say achtste. And so with those rules, you can say the ordinal number of anything. So 22, 22, ends on the pronunciation at least, ends on a multiple of 10, so you say 22ste. 196 would be 196ste. 202 would become 202. Easy to do. Alright, so that is it for the numbers in Dutch. We will now move on to conjugations of hebben en zijn. So, hebben and zijn, to have and to be, are 2 of the 7 irregular verbs in the present tense. How to conjugate regular verbs are explained in the recap of the 3rd lesson, which is also in this file section. So please have a look at that. So hebben, to have, is conjugated like this. We will go to the pronouns later. For I, it is ik heb, and then I will just go through them. Jij hebt, or heb jij. Hij, zij, het heeft. Wij hebben, jullie hebben, zij hebben. As you can see, I will still go through pronouns a bit. They're mostly similar to the structure of the English pronouns, except here you can see that there is a second the second personal pronoun, namely u, which is the formal form of jij. You use this formal form to address someone higher in rank than you, someone older than you, or someone you don't really know. It is just polite. Personally, I don't really like it use. I would just rather have a flat jij situation, because this saves having to figure out whether you should use u or jij and worrying about coming off rude when you say jij, or worrying about coming off as impersonal if you say u. I don't really like it, but it's good to know. In general, if you don't know them, use u. Most teachers, me definitely don't mind if you say u, jij. Also, what you need to know is that here you see jij hebt or heb jij. If you make a question in Dutch, you need to switch around the verb and the subject. We'll get to that in lesson 4, which is the first lesson you will probably see. And you lose the T for verbs that are conjugated with jij. I'm not really sure why this is a rule, but this is a rule. This does not apply to u, so it is hebt u, but it is heb jij, which would be do you have. Literally, have you seen, heb je gezien? Yes, you just need to remember this. We will come back to this in lesson 3, as you see. And at the next verb, which is zijn, meaning to be. The conjugation here is ik ben, jij bent, hij, zij, het is, wij zijn, jullie zijn, zij zijn. Again, as you can see, the plural form is just the same as the infinitive, which is very easy. And this is also the case for regular verbs. So these are the conjugations. You just need to know them. If you want, you can do exercise. One of the exercises in the booklet, and then go to the slides of this lecture, which are also in the files tab, to check whether you understand this. I will just skip through this. I don't feel like editing this. Lastly, I will quickly go through the personal and possessive pronouns in Dutch. So the personal possessive pronoun structure is similar to how it is in English. In contrast to English, Dutch does not really have a good gender-neutral pronoun, which I think is a real shame. Some people use die or hun as a gender-neutral pronoun, but it is not very common, and it still sounds kind of awkward. It does not have the widespread usage as they has in English. So that's just a thing to know. And it bothers me, and I want to convey that bothersomeness. So the personal pronouns as a subject or nominative, I, you, he, she, it, etc. In Dutch it is, as you already saw, ik, jij en u, hij, zij en het, en wij, jullie, zij. As you can see, the zij of they is the same as the zij of she, but again, as you also saw, the conjugation will always be the same, so you don't need to, from context it's always clear whether you mean they or she. For the object pronoun, which you use when the pronoun is the object of a sentence, like I hit you or I hit me, whatever, then the pronoun changes in English and also in Dutch. So me is mij, you is jou, u is still u, hij becomes hem, zij becomes haar, het becomes er. This is a bit weird. It works a bit differently, a bit strangely in Dutch, which we'll go into in more detail in the advanced course, so don't worry about it too much, but there's not really a good way to refer to it. It becomes er, and as you can see, there's also no possessive version, which is annoying, but that is all I will say about it. Do the advanced course if you want to know more. For wij, it becomes ons, jullie becomes again, jullie, very easy. And zij becomes hen or hun. For the possessive version, so that is my or your, his, hers, etc. You can see that. It is mijn, so mijn boekje, jouw boekje, uw boekje, zijn boekje, haar boekje, ons boekje. Onze is used for the words, which you can see in the third lesson, and we'll go into how this rule works in the seventh lesson, so don't worry about it for now. Jullie is still jullie, and there is hun. Not per se very difficult, you just need to know how it works. And that is it, what I want to do for this lesson. If you have any questions, things that you want to have clarified a bit more from this lesson, that I did not treat here, please send me a message, again at ESN Utrecht, Dutch language at ESN/ESN-Utrecht.nl, and I might be able to help you and put some more material online. This is already the third time I recorded this, because the first 2 times did not have audio, so that's why I rushed through it a bit. My apologies, but I wanted to get this content out before the first lesson of the new people. So, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you hopefully in class. Yes, so these were the recaps. Normally we don't do these recaps. We will just upload the recordings of the lecture, which will be a bit less to the point, but we'll have a lot more time to explain things, and you can just skip through it. Alright, that is it. See you later.